So, Saturday, March the 7th, I think this is the 10th, maybe 11th match, probably 10th in our year at Tunnon, which, as the name suggests, is me, a very much average Joe angler, fishing a match a week for the year, just seeing how we get on, but also sort of explaining how things change in the fishery through the year. So sort of fishing against some of the best anglers in the country at one of the UK's premier commercial fisheries. And today it's the teams of 3 competition, so 15 teams, and it's fished across house, extension and new, and it's one member of the team on each lake, and it's done on combined weight. And Simon has drawn me kind of rather inevitably extension 36, because anytime on extension it feels like I'm on 36, 38 or 13. So we're sort of right at the end of extension in the deeper part, which is normally okay in winter, but I'm not sure what we're in at the moment. So it's not perhaps a peg I fancied, but I spoke to Jack Danby when we were in the queue to draw this morning. I asked him where he wanted to draw an extension. He said in the 30s, and he's a pretty good judge, to say the least. And the wind is blowing in our direction, and there's not meant to be much wind. It's only meant to be about 4 miles an hour today, but it just seems to be a little bit more than that. But yeah, there's a bit of a ripple on it. So yeah, just try and work out a bit of a plan. Not entirely sure how I want to do it at the moment. I just feel as if we're on the cusp of meat season, so I've got meat with me. But also fancy we might catch a few shallow as well today. But anyway, I'm going to work all that out, and as usual, I'll sort of catch up with you at the start, and then we will do a hourly catch up right at the end. Then I'll do a wash up tomorrow and sort of explain exactly what we weighed in, how we did overall as a team. Anyway, I'll catch up with you at the All In. Okay, that's the All In, and I'm not entirely sure what my plan is. Not entirely sure what my plan is. I've sort of got a plan. I think the basic, because it's deep down here, and I just feel we don't have to go very far away from ourselves. So I'm going to start short on expanders and micros. I'm only going to do that unless I catch well for about 15 minutes, but have a look around and see what people are doing. I think it's almost shorts, almost top kit shorts and margins really, and I'll probably put a shallow line in, but the wind's just dropped. There was a bit of a sort of ripple coming down, and I thought that might be quite good for shallow, but it's just stopped. I might get up again. I was just slightly worried about splitting my fish a bit. I was going to fancy throwing maggots out of hand, but I think I'm just going to feel my way into it, and if I feel that they are going to come shallow, I can begin feeding that line. But I don't think we've got the greatest of draws. That was a bite. I think we've got the greatest of draws today. Nick's on new 1, which obviously, pretty good. But, there are a lot of good pegs on you, so Simon is on the dam wall on 16, which, if you're going to have a dam wall peg, is not the worst one to have. But don't think this is ideal. But you never know. There was a bite there. You never know. So I'm going to do this for a little while. And I think we'll start to explore the margins. And then we'll sort of take it from there. I think, in terms of team-wise, the results this week have been really good. On Tuesday's over 50s match, Pete Rice won it with £203 off peg 6 on house. But there was a weight of 228, I think, off house 31. But they went over in their nets. That was a bite. Let me pellet again. Went over in the net, so it didn't count. But you know, I think the top 8 had £100. So it fished really, really well. And Thursday's match, I think Roy Anderson won it from high pool 50, I think. And he had £100. So it didn't fish quite as well, but it's, you know, good weights all the way through. So it's fishing well. So I think you'll need, I think the top 10 is going to have £350 across the 3 anglers. And I think you'll need £300 to frame today. And we did okay on these last year. It was sort of the first time we were running these regularly, the teams of 3 last year, and we kind of just skirted the frame the whole time. So if we could just put in some steady performances, you never know. But I think we could have drawn a wee bit better. I'm hoping meat time has been reached. I'm really on that, but I'm probably going to fish sweet corn down my margins. So there is this nice window just before the meat generally on sweet corn. I'm going to fish that down my margins. And then just meat on some top kit short lines, see if that goes. Anyway, that's the plan for today. I will check in with you in an hour's time, and hopefully we've had a few at that stage. Right, we're just coming up to the hour mark, and I've had 2 F1s. I started off on expanders and micros, fairly short. Had a few signs, but no fish. And I've come sort of onto a top kit line, feeding a bit of meat. And I've had 1 big F1 and a few signs. But it wasn't exactly lighting up the place. And I've just gone down my left edge towards the platform on my left. Meat on the hook. And I've just had a reasonable F1. So now in, had 2 F1s. I'll say it's not. I always say this every single week. It's not fishing. It's head off. There's a few coming out, but no one, as far as I can see, is setting the world alight. Jack Danby is opposite me on 29. He seems to be long at the moment. He started off short at his edge. There we go. That's a bit ploddy. He started short in his edge. I'm trying not to take the camera out as I come back here. And he's gone long. But looking around, I don't know what that is, 5 up there, playing one. Because it's just been a wee bit colder than last couple of days. It's probably just going to knock it off a bit. I'm pinging out a few maggots for a shallow line. The breeze, such as it is up and down. I really want to ripple on before I'm going to use that, but I'll just keep pinging out there. It's a line I can go to if I need to. I don't think this is a huge fish. I don't think I've quite got it under control either. But it is a fish. So, yeah, bang on the 1 hour mark now. And we have 3 F1s. So, we are on our way. Just throwing a little bit of meat short. But the way it's going, I fancy my margins. Pete's got one. It's just, after a quite mild week, it's just gone to surprisingly chilly. But if I could get a little run down here, that'd be good, and then we'll draw these marges in a bit shorter. Hopefully also catch short on meat. We'll just keep feeding those lines. Hopefully we'll have a few there. And we'll just keep feeding that shallow line. That was a bite. This gives me a place to go. And we can just build it up a little bit. Anyway, 1 hour in, 3 F1s, so it's a start. I'll give you an update in an hour. Okay, 2 hours in, and it isn't great. I think I've had maybe 7 F1s. So they've become a little bit stocky-ish. And one small, very small stocky carp. And nothing is really lighting up, but not convinced anybody's really catching a great deal. I think this little burst of colder weather has perhaps seen some of the fishing off. It's not cold, well, it's a bit chilly. It's certainly cooler than it's been earlier in the week. It just seems to have thrown it off a bit. Whether it'll warm up a bit later, I don't know. I've just caught down my edges really. Well, I'm still pinging maggots out on a shallow line, so I've got that option. I'm still feeding my short top kit lines on meat. I'm on meat at the moment, I'm not convinced it's right, so I think I might try and change that. Looked quite promising to begin with. I'll have another look at my top kit in a minute. But I thought these short margins would be good. Well, they haven't been. So I'm looking up the lake. Let's see what's happening really. Let's see. Not much, I think, is the answer. So, I don't know. You never really know what people are catching, but I'm not convinced it's going to be a big weight coming off here today. Well, they'll just switch on. A few hours to go. Maybe. Doesn't really show much sign of it at the moment. So, yeah, not the world's most exciting update. We've been ticking over, but it's a little bit slow now. And I'll have to come up with a bit of a cunning plan, because at the moment this isn't quite working. But we will see. I'll catch up with you in an hour and I'll give you another update then. Okay, so a quick update at the 3 hour mark. And I think we're at 14 F1s. But it's been fairly hard going. The stamp has just improved a bit. The last 3 fish have been pretty decent. I caught the odd one down this right hand side. I've had one on this right hand side do me underneath the platform of 37, that was about. Pay attention. Do me on the platform of 37. Trash the rig, which wasn't great. I struggled on this left hand side. I brought that down to sort of top kit range and switched it to corn. And I've had a couple of that, and one was a big one. That's another bite. I think I did have one top kit short on meat. That's meat, my right edge. Sweet corn on my left edge. I was beginning to think nothing was going to happen, but at least we're starting to tick a little bit now. So, not huge numbers being caught, I don't think. Oh, again, that went straight away. So it's the odd encouraging sign. Good if we could hit some of these bites. I'm going to do my infamous, I'm not saying massive caught. It's certainly not like, it doesn't feel like it was in the week where there's some big weights coming out. But, at least we are getting the odd bite. I'm really hoping these margins come good at the end. Have a good run on them. Whether we will or not, I don't know. Looking up the lake. Yeah, it's certainly different. I think they're busier at that sort of, kind of where you want to be is at that 5-7 was the end of the island on this side. But 2 hours to go. Yeah, we definitely need a run. So a couple of quick bites there. Just hoping this short kit line on my left here where I'm feeding corn, if that can get going, that's better. That would be good. But at least now I'm starting to get regular bites down this right hand side. Oh, that feels like a bit of fish actually. And the stamp down that right hand side has gone from stocky to a better stamp. That's a nice fish. That's kind of what we want to see. So that's 15. Okay, well, 2 hours to go. That gives us a little bit of hope, and we can start to string together a few. So, fingers crossed, we can get a run going. I'll catch you in an hour. Right, 4 hours, and I think we are about 21 fish. It's been a bit frustrating really. A few down this right edge. We're getting some better stamp now. I struggled to make this left short edge work. I have just had one, albeit it was foul hooked. I lost another one there. So it's just maybe something about that isn't quite right. And I've had one decent one on the top kit line, short on meat. I get a few bites there now. That's one. No, not one. Wasn't. So yeah, just it's been a bit of a sort of frustrating period of time. Felt at one stage that we might be sort of building a run, and we may still. Who knows? But it hasn't quite happened. I'm gonna say not masses being caught, but certainly fish being caught. So I don't know what's going to be good from here today. But it's been slow down the edges. Oh, sign there, sign's going to go. Oh, was a bite. I missed it. Bound to be a lot more coming out than I'm actually seeing. It's just the way it is. A good thing here at the moment is a slightly better stamp than I normally catch down here. I mean, typically this is a stocky domain. And particularly in summer, they get really feisty stockies than they used to be when you're on here at the bank. They've sort of repaired the bank now, put in some, like corrugated iron down the side here. It used to be that it used to be hugely undercut. and these stockies would just rag you underneath the cut-out part of the bank, and you go, being on here, hard-fought match, £70 with every rig you've got trashed, exhausted, and actually smashed up by everybody else further down the lake. But they've been a wee bit better stamped today. Maybe because I'm using meat. Don't think meat's right. I think it's a martin on 38. I think he's fishing maggots short. I think that probably would have been better. But we made our decision. We'll sort of stick with it. And then more bites on that. Alright, I shall go across to my left edge now. I don't know what I've got. A bit of mix of sort of stockies and a few better ones. So maybe £30. Could desperately do with a bit of a last run in the last hour. Could rock up on that top kit line. Meat, a few signs, a few more things happening there now. I have sort of kept feeding the shallow line, but I can't see me going on it really. There we go. I just feel I'm going to waste. There might be fish on it. The wind's stopped again now. I just feel I'm just going to waste a load of time trying to work out if there's anything there. Of course I could get a nice run if there was. I don't think it's a huge fish, but they're just sort of getting very feisty. No, it isn't particularly. But it is a fish. I've just got to keep going. Keep being focused. Keep ticking over to the end. And see where we get to. See if we've made a contribution to the team. That's the key thing. Anyway, I shall catch up with you at the end. Okay, we're just coming up towards the end. 5 minutes or so from the end. I'm just going to look him down my right edge to see if we can nick one. It's probably the best of my margins. The short left margin has been a profound disappointment. I started off along towards the platform, that's one. And, oh, that's a nice one. And I caught on that. I think about 3 on that. And I'll shorten them, and they've just haven't been very good. I potted a sort of top kit line, and I went in on a float flew under on a big F1, and I thought, great. Went out again, and I had a stocky. That is the most appalling piece of netting. I don't edit any of this, but that might be the sort of thing you edit out. Just underneath the chin, actually. I think I'm about 31 fish. I'm just going to come off that. So I've had a few in that margin, and that's been okay. Left, as I say, has been a bit disappointing, and we've had a bit of a run at the end here on my top kit meat line, and I'm just going to try and finish off on that, I think. See if we can nick one more before the final whistle. So it ain't been great. I don't think, this fish been caught. I don't think there's volumes coming out. Big weights coming out. Don't know, I've got nearly 40 or so. So I'm just on this top kit line here. I had one on it earlier and I've had the odd one I've gone on it during the day. It's kind of got a little bit better at the end here. And they've tended to be decent, better stamp fish. So I think we'll finish on this. See if we can nick one more from here. But I'm gonna row. Well, I said earlier I thought you need 350 to win it. I don't think that's going to be the case at all. Famous last words, and somebody's. I mean, it could be that the other pools have fished better, but I think it's Martin on 38. It's caught really well short. Assume short on maggots. He's stitched a good run together in the last hour or two, to be fair. This is now making me wonder whether I'm finishing on the right line or not. Anyway, too late. That was a bite as well. Oh, I've got some rubbish on there. That was a bite. Let's just see if we can just nick one more before the final whistle goes. That's 2 minutes to go by the look of it. Not quite sure I got this right today. Much to think about, really. I think sort of because it was quite mild in the week and warm and good weights coming out. There we go. We kind of assume, I kind of assumed, you get the same. Ooh. Not being very well behaved, is he? It's very feeling very odd, this fish. Raising a smaller one. Yeah, I think he just assumed that that's the way it is. It's warmed up, the fishing's going to change. But of course, that's not always the way of things. Just let's get some meat out, just get straight back out if we can. We've got literally a minute. You never know, sometimes you get back out, it won't be for your elastics wrapped around. There we go. Alright, anyway, low 30s fish. It wasn't completely disastrous. I think we clawed it back a bit with that run on meat towards the end. It looked a bit grim for a while. But a little bit to think about, to be honest, because yeah, I'd be very intrigued to see what weights come out. Anyway, we'll find out, and we'll have a wrap up tomorrow. I'll let you know what happened, who won, and give you some reflections on the day. Anyway, I'll catch up with you then. Right, let's have a sort of quick wrap up on yesterday's match. So in terms of my match, I've started short on expanders and micros. I've had a few indications, no fish, didn't stick on it very long, probably about 15 minutes, and I sort of binned that off, probably prematurely to be fair. Then I've looked on my top kit line, fishing meat, and I've had a big F1. I thought, okay, that's interesting. I've carried on with that for a while, just rotating a couple of short kit lines. I was getting indications, I wasn't getting fish. So I didn't think I had it quite dialed in. So after about 50 minutes, I've gone onto my left margin up towards the platform, just tapping in a little ball of ground bait, meat on the hook, and I've had 3 F1s fairly quickly. Then that's dried up. Then I put in a similar line or similar approach into the ground bait and meat off to my right, fairly short. And I've had a few on that, and that's ticked over okay for me. Then I've tried to shorten my left edge. So the shorter version of my left edge, I didn't catch anything in at all. Then I thought I'll shorten it even more, brought it down to a top gear line. I thought I'll change that to sweet corn, and I've primed it up with some ground bait. I've gone on it, and the float has just shot under. It's a big F1. I thought, great. Gone back out, float shot under, and there's a stocky. Gone back out, float hasn't moved. And that really was the story on that line. I think I had one more on that short left-hand line on sweet corn, and that was foul hooked. I lost a big one, which I don't think was foul hooked, but anyway, it's come off. But that left edge has been really disappointing. I've really ticked over my right edge, ground bait and meat. Wait, float goes under. Started off being stockies, but the stamp got better as we went on. And I've had a quick look from time to time meat on short kit, and had the odd fish that's gone through the day. And then in the final hour, I've gone in on my short kit and I've put a decent run of fish together. Just fishing meat, very short. I probably had about 10 F1s short on meat in that last hour. It wasn't solid, but it was a nice steady run. So, you know, that kept me going. And that was my match really. I weighed in 42 pounds at the end, which is a bit less than I thought. So either I'd miscounted fish, which is entirely possible, or I hadn't factored in the stockies that I had. I did have some better fish in there, but thought in my head I got sort of closer to 50, but anyway, it weighed in at 42. So let's just go onto my laptop and I'll just go through the results. So in terms of extensions fished hardest of the 3. So the winner was Martin Reyes, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your name, Martin. He was on 38 next to me. He's had 69 pounds. He was struggling to begin with for the first 3 hours, and he's had a really, really good run short on maggots in the last 2 hours. And then second was Andy Clean with 60 pounds off peg 9. Third was Matt Redmond with 55 pounds off peg 7. And fourth was Jack Danby on 55 pounds off 29. Bit difficult to tell so the pattern on extension there, but I think it was fishing better on the tackle shop clubhouse side rather than on the new pool side of things. But that was extension pool. I was 8th out of 15, so pretty much the mid-table mediocrity that I generally aspire to. In terms of other pools, house fish a lot better. So top 4 on the house was Johnny Brazier with 152 pounds off 33. Andy Jackson, 127 pounds off 4. Scott McGee was 124 pounds off 31. Alex Major had 122 pounds off 29. So that island, that sort of 29, 31, 33 across the bridge is fished really well, as has 4. So yeah, much better on house than it was on extension. And Newport's kind of been in between really. So Newport was won with 132 pounds by Martin Steele on peg 31. Adam Jones was second with 102 on 44. Andy Benwell was third with 98 pounds off 28. And Curtis Tranter was fourth with 91 pounds off 6. So aside from 6, which is obviously a good peg, the fish don't seem to be sat in that triangle that is sort of 44, 31, 30, 29, etc. So that tends to be the area. Outside of that, I think it's been a bit more of a struggle on Newport. So in terms of the results overall, just go through the top 4 teams. So it was won by Pole Benders, who had a £262, which was a lot less than the £350 I was predicting would be required to win it today. And that is team with Johnny Brazier, Andy Clean and Ashley King. Second were Maven Midlands, they had a £246, which is Martin Steele, Steve Lovell and Ben Handley. Third were Three Musketeers with 244, so close between those two. And that was Andy Benwell, Henry Smith and Matt Redmond. And Team Tunnel were fourth with 234, that's Andy Jackson, Rich Kings and Pete Rice. And our team, Ducks Can Do One, struggled a bit, didn't really have the draw to do anything with. We've come in 12th with £158. You kind of need one person on one of the boss pegs to put in a decent innings, and we just didn't. And then hopefully the other two can put in a decent performance as well. We didn't have that, so yeah, I don't think we could have done a lot more than we did on the pegs we had. But look, it was a nice enough day's fishing. In terms of my match, I'm pretty sure I got it wrong. I think sort of fishing it more like a winter match would have been better. And I'm not 100% sure I know what right actually looked like, to be perfectly fair. I'm pretty sure maggots would have been better than meat. But, I made that decision. That's the way I wanted to go. I could have done really what Martin did. I think chucking in maggot short where I can keep them nicely grouped, fishing on the deck, but also fishing shallow and picking off. On that sort of short line, you get some big fish come shallow, and that is what Martin's done. I didn't know it at the time. Talking to him afterwards, he's caught on the deck, but he's also caught quite a lot deep shallow there as well. So I think in retrospect, that is what I should have done. Fish maggots. In terms of the approach I chose, I think it was a logical approach. I wanted to be positive. The only way we were going to frame is if I could put a decent weight together, and fishing short and margins was the way to do that. I think probably I could have explored my margins a bit more and tried some different lines in there. I probably should have spent more time on those short lines. I think they would have been quite productive through the day, particularly if I could rotate 2 or 3 short lines and just work those a bit better. So don't think I got that quite right, but yeah, wasn't a disaster. Mid-table, we'll take that, but more could have come out of that peg. But the overall scale of things, that wasn't going to make any difference. That wouldn't enable us to have framed. So there's more teams of 3 through the rest of the season, and we shall aspire to do better. Anyway, that's this week's. Looking forward to next week's. The Summer League has now started 1st of March. That goes on to 31st of August. That has got 2 elements in it. One is getting through to the final. The final is in early September, so to qualify to get into the final, which there's lots of prize money available on that, big prize pool, you've got to win a match. Or, as the season goes on, you can come in the top 3 and qualify if the people ahead of you have already qualified. So you do have that option. That was kind of a change of the rule last year. Previous to that, it was kind of an unlimited roll down, and by the end of the season, pretty much, if you were fishing there regularly, you were going to qualify at some point or another. Last season was a lot tougher to get in. It's not easy. You've got some very good anglers any time of year, but tend to be more people fishing in the summer. It's spread across multiple lakes, so not only do you have to do well on your lake, but have to hope kind of on the lake that is predominant on the day. So it takes some doing, and I didn't qualify last year. I'd really like to qualify this year, so we're going to try and have a good go at that. There's also a league, so I think that takes your best 10 results across the season, and you get 10 points for the win, 9 points for the second, down to 1 point for 10th. So we'll see how we do in that league. Already put my entry money in yesterday, so first match I'll be fishing will be next Saturday, so looking forward to that. Weather forecast wise if I can find that. Let's just have a look at the weather. It's kind of more of the same, I think. Keep saying this, but it is. Going to get a bit windier in the middle of the week, dropping down on Saturday. So Saturday's showing as 11 degrees, light rain showers, 6 mile an hour southwesterly by the look of it. Not dissimilar from today, maybe slightly warmer, maybe slightly warmer wind. So should fish a bit better, though to be fair, House did fish well. So look forward to that. Anyway, that's the latest outing all wrapped up. Looking forward to getting out next week and hopefully catch up with you again then.